Welcome into First News on 570. Employers are increasingly using monitoring software to keep an eye on day-to-day operations. In fact, 75% of work conversations could be recorded and assessed by 2025. ExpressVPN revealed the results of a recent survey highlighting workforce sentiments regarding telecommuting, employer monitoring software, and more. While many employers are tapping these technologies to monitor workflows, the reports highlight potential drawbacks and even resentment among surveilled employees. So is your work computer or work phone under surveillance? It's pretty clear that your boss has the legal right to monitor you, but just because they can, should they? When bosses spy on employees, does it violate their trust? We turn now to Joel Patterson, workplace analyst with the Vested Group, a firm that is always on the best places to work list. And Joel, what's the scoop here?
Well, good morning, Mark. I would say that depending on the industry that you are in and the types of people that you employ, there's a real possibility that you could get some value from these types of tools. If you think about a high turnover call center, for example, where you got to get people trained up quickly, you got to make sure they're saying the right things on the phone. It makes some sense to have some monitoring software to help with that process. But then if you've got types of employees where they're working with clients all the time and you have that reasonable amount of trust, if you put a tool like that in place, you're likely to upset them. And so you've really got to kind of balance the risk versus the reward on whether you decide to employ these tools.
Yeah. So now let's talk about the opposite side of this. Is there anything employees can do to stop their bosses from spying on them? That's probably the real question people have.
I think you just assume that everybody is. I mean, if you think that that's happening, then they do have the right to do so. And if you're on a company laptop or company email, then just assume that you're being monitored.
Yeah. Now, obviously, the laptops are one thing, but company cell phones, that's a whole other situation altogether. Now, what would they be? I mean, would they just be monitoring like email usage or text message usage? I mean, they wouldn't actually be getting phone calls, right?
No. I've never heard of anybody being able to do that. I suppose if they really wanted to try to have voicemail sent to them or something, maybe they could, but I've never heard of them trying to do that. Yeah. Typically, what we're talking about, what gets people a little freaked out is that as we get more and more focused on the video conferencing side of things, there are a lot of tools that allow you to interpret facial expressions and gestures. Is the person on the other side acting angry? Mm-hmm. The sentiment that they use can be interpreted, or the specific words that they use. And being able to make decisions, or at least give input to people making decisions with those tools, makes people a little uneasy because it could be misinterpreted. Right.
Well, yeah. I mean, what if you just, what if you always have a curmudgeon look on your face, and then all of a sudden, the software tells you tells your boss that you're getting ready to come after him? Like there's a lot of hangups on this whole thing.
Yeah, I happen to have one of those faces, so I totally get it. People just assume that I'm mad, and I'm not. So yeah, it's not going to make me any happier.
Right.
But there are some things. You think about things like wrist trackers for social distancing were fairly common here a few months ago. There are things like that really make a lot of sense to leverage some of these tools. It just becomes a bit of a slippery slope when you start getting into really interpreting what people are doing and saying.
Right. And this is and again, just real quickly here, we got about 30 seconds left. This is more than just like keystroke monitoring and types of things like that, right? You're actually talking about this is almost like an artificial intelligence type software.
It's absolutely that. It is taking multiple inputs of data from a variety of sources that you may not even consider. Like if you're driving a car, they might be getting your GPS information and your speed, but they might also have a camera looking at your facial expressions. And are you paying attention to the road, or are you looking off to the side?
Right.
So there's a lot of different ways to take all of those and kind of come up with one ultimate grade or rating at times.
God help us if they ever start doing that for the town hall meetings with this company. Lord have mercy.
You wouldn't be alone.
No, probably wouldn't be having this conversation, my friend. My guest this morning, Joel Patterson from the Vested Group. Joel, we always appreciate the time, man. Have a great rest of your day.
Great to be here, Mark. Thank you.
You got to take care.